to about March, it's like a rainy season. Some areas are inaccessible. You cannot access them. Nothing moves in there. And when you have projects with timelines, it means your timelines start to get affected. I have a prime example. We did have a project, like an urgent project to roll out communication tower in a specific area. We go into that area, the water had just gone down and vehicles could not go into the area. And we had to transport all the materials, the towers. And here towers are not simple. I was there in India. I saw your towers, they're quite short.
Yeah.
Here towers go like 100 meters, 80 meters high. So that's a lot of material. The tower and its components had to be transported via a banana boat, not a speedboat, a banana boat. It could take 24 hours for the boat to leave one side to pick up the material and drop it off on the other side. And guess how many boats we used to transfer all the materials? 20 boats, each taking 24 hours to move from one place to the other place. And you see that when you're chasing timelines, these are some of the measures.
Welcome to another episode of Seller Talks with Deepak Bajaj, where we meet the visionaries who is transforming industries with purpose, precision, and performance. Our guest today is a seasoned technology leader who has spent close to a decade and a half architecting digital infrastructure and driving network innovation across Zambia. For you who are not aware about Zambia, it's a wonderful country within African continent. The guest name is Mr. Stone Ligomeka. Stone is a technological leader and his career has spanned across core network planning, transmission design, radio access network, and strategic technological rollouts, which is very, very crucial to enable any of the nation. And he has played a pivotal role into that. So his expertise from enabling mobile broadband growth to leading high-stake optimizations and nationwide infrastructure development, where his journey is a masterclass in engineering excellence, stakeholder alignment, and execution leadership. Stone is also an esteemed speaker on at various international forums and events, and I met him at one of the event also, where he always talk about the future of technology, the challenges which the technology will take in getting it implemented, and he's the person who love to share his experience and learning with others, and he's a mentor of many young professionals as well. He brings a rare blend of technical expertise, business acumen, and management disciplines, which is needed to do any sort of rollout. And it's time for us to dive into the mind of Stone, who thinks like a strategist, acts like a technologist, and delivers like a leader. Welcome, Stone, on Value Seller Talks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deepak Bajaj, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, Value Seller, for giving me this opportunity and this privilege to be here and have this conversation with you.
Right. It's an honor for us also, Mr. Stone.
Thank you.
Stone, your achievement is too long, right? You have accomplished, I think, I don't know which milestone you have left undone. You have reached to everywhere. But before we move ahead, we want to know about yourself. Who is Stone Ligomeka?
All right. Just a brief background. I am Stone Ligomeka, as said. Well, if I'm not doing technology stuff, I'm just a normal human being out there, just like everybody else. I love to travel, see what's out there, especially nature. I like to spend time in the wild, on the national parks out there, see oceans. And when I'm at home, when I'm at home, I just like to read books and sometimes play sports, basketball in particular. Yeah.
Wow. So all the creative work has been, you are fond of all the creative work because all these things actually keep your mind, a mind which absorbs a lot of positive energy and makes you creative, isn't it?
Yeah, we can put it that way. We can put it that way.
Great. No, thank you so much. But your journey start into the technological, and when we talk about technology, the infrastructure, and handling the networks, managing the networks. So how this transition happened?
All right. The short story is I don't like to wear the normal engineering work suits. You know those work suits that the engineers wear. I
Mm,
like to do smart work. That's a short story. But the long story is when I was in university, I did my university at the University of Malawi. I had a conversation with one of my lecturers. He happened to be a telecommunications lecturer. So I was asking him about my final year project ideas or how he could help me with ideas. And he happened to sit on the board of a network operator called Telecom Networks Malawi, TNM. So he gave me sort of like a real world or a real life challenge. He said, listen, I'm on the board there. The network at that time, it was struggling with network performance issues, specifically with core drops.
mm,
So he said, if you could do this, this would be a better project for you. So I embraced the challenge. I took it on head on, started the project, did a deep dive, analyzed what was causing the core drops successfully, found the reason why it was causing, why the core drops were happening, and managed to resolve the core drops because it was pointing to network capacity issues.
mm,
And I must say that this project did not only uh, give out those good results, tangible results, but it also sort of opened the door for me for my first job at TNM. So what sold me off to TNM was this project. So just soon after I completed my studies, like 5 days later, a week later, I got a job at TNM because it was like unanimous. I didn't have to apply for a vacancy. Yes, I got myself a job there. And joining TNM, I thought like, okay, since I did core drops is something on the radio side, then I'll be a radio or wireless engineer. First day of work, we are going around with a HR person introducing us to the people in the building. We reached a core network manager's office. We were like
mm,
four of us. We were taking four of us from our class. And when I introduced myself, fortunately or unfortunately, the man said, Stone, what type of a name is that? I said, it's just a name. Then he says, no, I have a guy who's leaving my department in 3 weeks' time. I don't have any replacement. You will be the replacement. Just like that. So then on, I began my work as a packet switch engineer, where I learned the strong fundamentals in mobile data networks. And I did a few tasks there, a few activities or initiatives that impacted the business a lot. Subscriber growth, quality of experience, and I think the achievables are the list is endless.
yeah.
And then from there, I did about 2 years in Telecom Networks Malawi. Then I joined Huawei Zambia, where I sort of honored my technical and my multicultural skills because I mean Huawei is an international company, so you
Mm.
deal with lots of people from different countries and different nationalities. Then a few months later, I joined Zamtel, and I must say that after joining Zamtel, my career really took off because from then it's been promotion after promotion. And as they say, the rest is history. I'm here now as head of network planning. Thank you.
No, it's a great, like, the first thing, is getting the direction. So I'm pretty much sure, your mentor or your professor at that time, he has played a really wonderful thing in giving back to the society of Zambia, by giving you that task which no one has thought about. Because expecting a person to do wonders in the real networks, from that who will actually come out from the college. So
Yes. Mhm.
the promotions and your achievement, it's by default right now because the capability which you are having is endless. But how you handle that pressure? At that time there was so much literature, no much of expertise is there. How you did that transition?
All right. I think it all goes back to learning.
Hmm.
I knew that this is real world. It's not the telecommunications we learn in class. That's just theories, and this is practical.
Yeah.
So when we're doing the project, we were attached to one of the employees there who sort of like introduced the whole telecom infrastructure to us and what it means to have core drops. So there was like hundreds of possible causes of the core drops. Then fortunate enough, we didn't have to go through 100 of the list. The very top of the list was capacity, and we went into capacity and we found the reason why. So I think when you open your mind, you learn more, you pay attention, everything just works out.
Interesting, and that's the reason, these small steps are actually helping to build the nation, because you rightly mentioned the quality of service. You rightly mentioned the subscriber growth. If your network is poor, then definitely no one is going to buy your SIM in a layman language, right? So
yes.
Thanks for making that network capable of providing the right quality of service and right premium services to your subscribers. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Um, Now, when you move to the packet network, right? It's much more complicated, right? Well, I still remember the big the Almiras type, or the big shelf where the different cards have been put at, and they are always making some beeping sound, right? The MSCs
Yes.
and the MSCs and the RNCs of the world, right?
Yeah. When you're in a data center, the only sounds you hear is either the sound of the aircon, woo,
Oh, yeah.
and equipment's going toot 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 everywhere.
Interesting, and yeah, so I don't want to go into the technical side, but yes, you actually triggered that visualization when I entered into this big MSC centers, and we were told to remove our shoes, wear slippers,
Yes.
go inside, and then bring some blanket because it's extremely cold over there.
It's cold. The equipment has to remain cold at all times because that's by design. It's processing high data, and when the temperatures are high, the equipment fails. So you don't want to have a failure. Then that means you have an all-out outage, and people fail to access the services. So that's why it's usually cold. And you are told to take off your shoes because of the dust. Sometimes this equipment is sensitive to dust, and those dust particles can, when it goes into the equipment, can cause maybe a shortening in the chips and make the equipment fail.
Yeah. And maintaining and repairing those equipment, it's a very costly affair.
It's very costly, yes.
You represent Zambia, right? You I think born and brought over there as well. So tell us about, and you are the first guest from Zambia, you know.
Oh,
So so we are privileged to have you here. But we want to understand how the Zambia looks like, the demography, especially the young population, because Africa is known for getting a younger population who is more tech savvy. So give us some idea about Zambia.
all right. Well, to begin with, Zambia is in the southern part of Africa. It borders with 8 countries. I think that's a little bit too much if you're studying geography. So we share a border with Angola, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, and as well as the Democratic Republic of Congo. Land-wise, I think it's big. We have about 750,000 square kilometers of area, and the population is just like 20 million, and most of it is the youth. Yeah, most of it is the youth. When it comes to economic activities, we have mining. I think Zambia comes up one of the top countries with copper and cobalt exports. We have agriculture as well. Tourism is number one. I'm sure you've heard of the Victoria Falls. We have one of the largest waterfalls in the world. That's the Victoria Falls, and it's right here in Zambia. And as well as some other national parks. You find national parks almost every corner. You go to the western part, there's national parks. To the southern, to the eastern, as well as to the northern, you find there's national parks. So if you like wildlife, this is a place to come to.
You're making it curious and excited both. Maybe, yeah. The only thing which I heard from the African context, it's a Masai Mara, which is at the eastern part of Africa,
Yeah.
sharing between the Tanzania and Kenya. But yes,
Yes.
Zambia is also having a lot of attractions,
Yes,
especially
it
for
does.
the nature. Mm. Now, specifically when we talk about the network, it is It's really, really complicated. Now, as we mentioned about, having a big rooms with a lot of air condition. Nowadays, we are talking about everything putting on the network infrastructure like poles and the towers, right? That's how the network has transitioned, right? So, what lessons and what challenges you have experienced, when you were migrating from one technology to another, or maybe the upgrading of your existing technology?
All right, thank you. Well, we need to understand that today, these networks have really transformed our lives. I mean, the digital environment that we're in doesn't just bring in a convenience, but it's sort of like a backbone on the modern day life. From education to accessing information, we all rely on these networks to access this information. Um, and building these networks is not easy. It's not a simple job. It's not easy. We face challenges and complex challenges coming in from spectrum cost, because for us to build that tower, for the tower to transmit a signal to your phone or to your device, we need that spectrum there. So we see that spectrum cost is really high sometimes, and it's sort of like a challenge to maneuver through that. Also dealing with legacy systems, because the technology is evolving too much or at a very fast pace. You cannot always keep up with it. Sometimes you tend to hold off a little bit. And as you hold off, you end up with legacy systems, and maintaining these legacy systems is also, it has a high cost. Multi-vendor environments, networks mostly, when you look at networks, it's very rare to find networks that run like on one vendor. Most of them like have different vendors because of the way the networks are. Some vendors are good on the radio, some vendors are good on transmission, some vendors are good on core network. So for you to get value out of it, you'd rather have that mix and match sort of environment. But having a multi-vendor environment is not easy, because sometimes you have features that are supported by one vendor and the other vendor couldn't support the features. And also when it comes to having a maintenance or a support contract, it becomes costly because you don't have like the bargaining power, since you're getting bits and bits from each vendor, unlike when you have the whole full pack of network end to end, you can have bargaining power when it comes to your maintenance contracts. Right. Similar to that is also on the operation side. This means for example, your RAN is multi-vendor RAN, radio access environment is multi-vendor, meaning your engineers need to be familiar with both vendors, how to execute commands in this vendor, how to execute commands in this vendor. And that sort of, it's not easy, it's complex. And the other thing is, we know that as technology is evolving, so are the attacks out there. Now with the digital environment, security is number one. We have to protect the network, we have to protect the customers and the customers' information. So as technology is evolving, we have to keep up with the cyber threats that are out there. So keeping up with these security measures is also evolving, and it tends to be costly. But as they say, in every challenge, there lies an opportunity, or there lies a lesson. So we've learned that cloud deployments sort of give you an easy scale in or scale out when it comes to expanding your infrastructure. So you find that most of our core network right now, the beeps that you're seeing in the data center, it's all just savers. You wouldn't know which one is the MSC, which one is what. I'll have to point to you to say, inside this rack here, there's a MSC. So it just savers. So we're running cloud. It's easy to scale in and scale out. And also the modular deployments that comes with a cloud, it's easy for you to manage or to isolate faults, because if one module fails, you don't expect the whole equipment to die. It's just that module that has failed, so it's easy to replace it and continue with the business. Also, we've seen infrastructure sharing that is coming up because of these challenges. So we've seen that as operators, if we come together, and the regulation, of course, we share infrastructure, it becomes less costly to deploy these networks. And of course, the security part of it, we have to keep up with the security, and also put in place disaster recovery plans in case we lose network, maybe due to any type of disaster. Could be a fire, could be maybe an earthquake, or we don't have much earthquakes in Africa, but in some other countries there is an earthquake. So this applies to everyone. You need to have a disaster recovery in place so that you don't lose these services, because like I said in the beginning, this technology or this digital era is more like a backbone of our lives. So when that is taken away, life doesn't seem to be normal anymore. So in short, That's how we keep up with these networks, the challenges that come with it, as well as the lessons from them.
Yeah, there's a whole shift, right? Again, from a rack perspective to now the server, which is virtualized and everything is connected. So it's a very, very
Yes.
crucial. But still, you want to share any nightmare, or any incident which still you remain as a which wake you up still maybe at that time what should be done better to avoid that particular conflict or situation or escalations, generally in our technology world escalations are more, any incident that you want to share with us.
Yeah, there is a number of them. I'm trying to think quickly in my head to pick which one is the best, but I think I would mostly point to the when it comes to rolling out access network. Of course, issues in the data center also they are quite nightmares, but I think rolling out access network is another nightmare, especially for like we are in Zambia. From November to about March, it's like a rainy season. Some areas are inaccessible. You cannot access them. Nothing moves in there. And when you have projects with timelines, it means your timelines start to get affected. I have a prime example. We did have a project, like an urgent project to roll out communication tower in a specific area. We go into that area, the water had just gone down and vehicles could not go into the area. And we had to transport all the materials, the towers. And here towers are not simple. I was there in India. I saw your towers, they're quite short.
Yeah.
Here towers go like 100 meters, 80 meters high.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of material. The tower and its components had to be transported via a banana boat, not a speedboat, a banana boat. It could take 24 hours for the boat to leave one side to pick up the material and drop it off on the other side. And guess how many boats we used to transfer all the materials? 20 boats, each taking 24 hours to move from one place to the other place. And you see that when you're chasing timelines, these are some of the measures that you come up with in order to keep up with the timelines. So I can say that's one of the biggest nightmare is to deal with timelines. And when these geographical challenges are in play, like the terrain and the rains and the floods, it's not a good time to roll out any project. But hey, we have a job to do, and we just have to find a way of doing it.
But I'm thinking about the impact, after the site was rolled out with all your hard efforts and all the pain, then the town or the village, which has no coverage at all, now they are getting us the network and they are able to make their first call, from their village. So
Yes.
the experience of these people will be really remarkable.
Yes, I mean, telecommunications is really profoundly, it's transforming people's lives, especially those in the rural. Because us in the urban, I mean, we're the first ones. Anything comes up, we're the first ones to get it because we are closer, we are easy to get to. But in the rural areas, it's not easy. Like I said, that example of transferring materials by boat, meaning this area, it's not accessible at all. So you find that when we roll out these towers, especially in the rural areas, you see that people's lives change, people's lives transform. You see you see increase in access to information, I mean, internet information, whether it's news, education materials, any type of material that is there online, they jump onto it. I think as human beings, naturally we have this thing that when we are given a technology, we easily get onto it. So we see that even the people in the rural areas, they easily jump onto it, and all of a sudden they have WhatsApp, they have Facebook, they're accessing information, they're communicating with other members of the community or other relatives out there. They can access government services because we have government services that are online almost, I mean, most countries do now with the digital transformation going on. They access government services. So before they used to walk kilometers to get to a place where they can access the services. Now they can access the services at the comfort of their home. We also have the market or financial inclusion, which is the mobile payments or fintech. Other people call it fintech. They can now receive money, they can send money, they can access loans. E-commerce is there, they can pay for stuff using the same mobile payments. So it also, you see that everything just cuts off the need for them to travel long distances to get access to services, but rather they're just at the comfort of their home and they can get access to services. Also, we see productivity and efficiency increasing. Like you and me right now, I'm
Yeah.
sure in the old days, if we were to have this interview, we'll have to meet personally. One of us had to travel, all of us must travel.
Yeah.
But now we can work remotely. We are remote. Even them, they can also do their things remotely with access to communication that they have at the moment. And also, you see that their lives are also getting better because of entertainment. Now, with the coming of internet, there's a lot of things to entertain yourselves with. I think back then in the villages, if maybe 6 o'clock or the dark creeps in, you just automatically send yourself to bed. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do. But with a phone in your hands, you have access to internet. There's lots of things that you can do. So this is how the mobile communication is impacting lives out there.
And how it feels as part of enabling their lives, you know.
Feels great. It feels great to see lives transforming and to make an impact in people's lives.
And I think that's the reason, you know, it keeps you and your team whole motivated about to take an extra mile. And you know, again, these banana boats are all, I know the pain. I understand, you know, the intensity of water when it comes at the time of, you know, rivers, at the time of floods. And 80-meter tower, 100-meter towers are really a big asset to carry.
Exactly. Exactly.
But your forte is to expand the broadband coverage by reusing the decommissioned assets. So how you are managing it, first of all, and how you are creating, how you are identifying the real areas which is actually needed by the town or village in Zambia.
All right. Thanks. That's a very good. We need to understand that today, I think globally, economies are sort of not going on good. So you find that most organizations are strapped from the cash perspective. And with this ever-changing technology, we have to keep up, meaning we have to continuously invest in our network to keep up with the changes in technology. But then you have to balance between an investment and how you get value from it. And this requires like to know how you can execute something technically versus your cost efficiency. So what I normally do is I can say about 4 steps that I normally follow when I'm handling projects of this nature is one, strategically planning the scope of the project. In that way, we have listed everything that is required in the project, every activity. How much does it cost? So that we have like a broader view of what we're dealing with. And from there, since you have a full list of the activities and how much it costs, you start looking at for this activity, can we do it in this way, or there's an alternative way of doing it, which is much cheaper whilst delivering the same results. So you start to filter out from that perspective those that you must do or those that are good to have. Those activities that are like, okay, this is just good to have or good to do, but it doesn't really deliver the impact. So those, they start to fall off at the bottom of the list. Those that are a must, they start to go up at the top of the list. So when it comes to cost management, it's easier to start removing those that are at the bottom of the list. So cost management comes in various ways. I mentioned the issue of infrastructure sharing. If, say, this project needs us to share infrastructure, that means that that's what we'll pick up in order for us to save the cost. Also have good conversation with the vendors, proper vendor management, so that they give you discounts. Most of us in this part of the world, we deal with Chinese vendors, and we know that the discounts there are remarkable, so long you have a good conversation with them. We also, you also have to look at in this project, will you execute it in-house or outsource? Each method will either save you cost or cost you time. So you need to strike a balance whether you go outsource or you execute it in-house. And from the cost management perspective, I think those are the items that you need to look out for. Then there's also timeline management. Timeline management is key when you're handling a project. So with what I like to do is make sure from all the listed activities that I have at the top, which ones require approvals. maybe approval, not approvals like internal, but approvals mostly external, maybe from the environmental commission. Since you're putting up a tower, you need to get clearance on that.
Yeah.
Since you're putting up a tower, you need to get clearance from the aviation. So make sure that all those are approved on time before you get there. You get those approvals on time. And also follow like an agile project management method. Because like I said, these projects can take it in any time. You're rolling out a tower in this area one time. Next time there's floods, you can no longer do it. So you need to find a way of getting it done in another way, regardless. And also stakeholder management. Make sure there's meetings regularly. People know what's expected of them. People know how the project's progressing. If we have any risks there, how we're managing the risks, and the rest just follows. I think that's how, in short, that's how I handle these projects. Thank you.
Because managing the external is really, really a challenging thing, especially the approvals. And as you mentioned, every department has their own protocols and the system and processes in place. So
Yes.
making it proactively and taking them along with you, during in this journey is really, really a challenging task. So
yes.
But when it comes to internal also there's a lot of pressure. And I'm asking this question on behalf of a lot of professionals who are actually facing a lot of challenges and pushback from internal side. Like whenever you're putting an extra asset or the towers or the network, the ROIs are, has been asked at the forefront, and sometimes the real ROI will take a little bit more time. So how you handle that part where your expenses are there and the investor and the management is pushing you for talking about the ROI, how you manage that thing?
All right, thank you. Yes. So you put it in the right. Sometimes ROIs can take lots of time. There are some projects, for example, if you're rolling out towers, the ROI is sort of easy because you'll have had like a scan of the area, which area you're trying to put the tower in, how many people are there, what is the economic activity in there. So it's easy to come up with a return on investment. But when you're talking of the data center, I mean, that's just a data center. You put in a cloud infrastructure, they ask you, where's the money coming from now? It's hard to quantify how much money will come from there. So sometimes you just need to strike a balance or to let them know that not everything has a return on investment. They're like a direct return on investment. Like a data center, we need a data center to run our MSCs, our core networks, because that's a tower only cannot do anything. It relies on this. So whether we like it or not, we cannot see the direct amount of money coming in, but this component of the network has to be there as well. So I think just taking them through and breaking down really what these technical projects mean to the business is what's key to them, because some of them, they just look at the ROI directly. All they want to see is how much money is coming out from there. But not every project results in a direct return on investment. Some, they're indirect. Like, for example, the MSC is just there to support the radio. The transmission is there to support the radio and the MSC. So, but you have to invest in it. At the end of the day, you have to invest on all of them. So for you to have that end-to-end, it means you'll have to touch every part of the network infrastructure, but that doesn't mean that every part of the network infrastructure will directly give you the return on investment. So that's how like I handle it. Just make sure that they understand what it means to have this component of the network upgraded or being put in the network or expanded. And not everything is directly linked to ROI.
Agree. I totally agree. And that's always a fight which happen in all the organizations, not limited to one, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, how? Let me ask this in a very simple thing: that how Zambia is welcoming the new technologies like AI, blockchain, and how they are playing with this technology, right? These are all nowadays are common words, right? AI is a common nowadays. So how you are playing with this first technology, and then how you are developing some use cases for Zambia?
All right. There's a lot of innovative companies around in Zambia that are dealing with this. They are developing applications, and in the applications they embed the AI depending on what the application does. So we see a lot of innovative activities going on, and employing the AI. We have networks now that are 5G. So we see that we are catching up with the other countries as far as technology is concerned. We're not just consumers, but we at least are producing something.
And I'm pretty much sure you are also implementing a lot of AI use cases in the network. So you would like to share something that which stage are they, or it will take some more time to get it more matured and reaching to that level.
Yeah, we have some AI pushed in the network. Not just on the network alone, but also on the business. So those business reports that come up, the revenue reports, so they're able to analyze those revenue reports per site or per area and predict whether we are going downwards trend or upwards trend in this area, so that the marketing people, the commercial people can quickly move in and come up with measures to bring those revenues up if they are going down. On the network side, also fault prediction is there. We have fault prediction, we have KPI analysis. The network is too big, so you can't have a few people analyzing the network key performance indicators, because we know human error. Sometimes engineers are tired, they'll just say, okay. So at least plug in a machine in there so that it analyzes the network performance and tell you which areas we are doing bad and which areas we're doing good. And from the report, you're able to come up with corrective measures.
There's numerous use cases, and definitely the how to first reach to the automation level, and then bring the AI flavor on top of that to make the things keep the engine rolling in a self mode.
Sure.
We always heard about a one-liner for you is that you are expert and your forte is to restart the stalled projects, the project which is not moving anywhere, which has been reached to the bottleneck, and bring Stone over there and he will, do that thing.
All right. I think on that one, I can say I was blessed with a talent of, like I mentioned earlier, of breaking down the technical jargon into a language that a layman can understand. So a project was halted, various reasons could be there. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, no, this project, I think it still could make some impact. We can't just let it die like this. So bring it back to life. What does it mean? I have to go back to the executive management and highlight to them the impact that will have if we complete this project and what it will mean if we don't undertake on this project. So there has to be that clear explanation of the project's goals or the project's objectives and what impact it would have on the business. And I think I'm good at doing that. And then also constant engagement with the excos, even beyond the boardroom, so that they understand really what is meant if we undertake this project, and sort of like get a buy-in from them. So that's how mostly I get these stored projects to come back to life again, because I believe that it's impactful. It has an impact that it could bring out, and I make sure that this impact is also well known to the others, especially the C-suite executive, because that's where the approvals come from.
And I'm pretty much sure there are a lot many pushbacks when you deal with executive. Again, that's the reason I asked the ROI.
There's always, you have to stand strong. I mean, if you believe in something, you can't take one blow and fall off. You need to go back and go back and go back. The more they see you coming back, they start to give you. I mean, first time you go there, sometimes they don't want to hear your story. They're like, no, you just want to waste money. Just leave it, But the more you go back and they start to, wait a minute, I think he has a point. Let's listen to what he has to say. So you just have to constantly engage them if you believe that this project has a greater impact or greater good.
It's a very important message, because you cannot, leave your path just with a one or couple of, pushback which you are getting from the management. It's the consistency and your confidence on that particular project which has to, reach to them. So because they also want to understand what is going on ground, and expertise like you and other professionals, who are getting the same hardships all the time. That's a very important message for them. Thank you, Son, for bringing it up.
You're
You know,
welcome. Thank you.
Now moving from the corridors or the region from within Zambia to become an international speaker, how this transition happened.
Well, I I failed to describe how it happened, but I think it all comes from the same point I highlighted earlier to say I'm able to break down the technical jargon into a language that a layman can understand. So from there, I noticed, say, okay, listen, I think I could speak to the world out there and not speak the MSc language, because if we start speaking MSc language, lots of people who won't understand what we're talking about. But try to break it down as much as possible and carry on. Even a layman, even somebody who's not from telecoms, who's from agriculture, who's from mining, can understand what is going on. So from there on, uh, I've been told like to make a presentation. Sometimes, in the company, maybe we have external uh, visitors, maybe board members are here, then they want to know about the network. So I happen to be the one to explain what the network is to them and how the network functions. And sort of the momentum started from there, and I'm able to stand in front of a big crowd internationally and speak.
And how's your experience? Like, because first of all, talking and handling the audience from the different regions who has their own network, who has their own challenges, and who maybe at a very advanced level, or maybe at the below level of where you are standing. So how you are handling their queries and how you are handling their expectations?
All right. So the first is to understand what they are dealing with, because different countries, different networks, different advancement levels. So being in the telecoms, you need to know what the trends are. And I think I've been here long enough, because I think the time that I was starting, there was still like TDM networks before IP networks. So being able to transition from this and seeing how technology has evolved and knowing the upcoming trends, I'm able to sit down with anyone and ask them questions like, okay, how is your network set up at the moment? They tell me, and from there, I'm able to put pieces together. And then from those pieces, I can start now telling the story to say, okay, I think at this point, you need to run A, B, C, D for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And also, most importantly, people tend to overlook the regulatory aspect of it. Regulatory is number one. Regulators are there not as enemies, they are there as friends as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we were having issue of infrastructure sharing, but all of us, we came together and we approached the regulator, say, look, we know you don't have this regulation yet, but we think it would help us if we start to share the infrastructure. So at the moment, we do share the towers, we do share fiber, we do share fiber poles as well. And we see that the cost of running business becomes easier after this regulation was pushed out. So that's how you get to people to open up about challenges they're facing. Just ask them a few questions and then be able to direct them according to the environment.
And I love the stance that regulators are your friends, not enemies. They are here to bring something good for the subscribers, and obviously they become sometimes tough, but it's good for the whole ecosystem.
Of course.
I also used to deal a lot of regulators in my past, but yes, I understand the type of question which they generally ask. And but yes, if you are good at what you're offering and you're very clear, they understand and they accept it also.
Of course. That's the good part
Mm,
about regulation, is they're able to change according to the environment.
true, true. And now within your team, you have people coming from various mindsets, right? Which has a different ways of adoption, different ways of execution, different styles. How you manage such diverse team.
All right. It's not easy to manage a diverse team like that. It requires one to have strategic leadership, emotion intelligence, I think is key. and also deep understanding of the technologies. I mean, I'm in technology, so I need to make sure that I understand not to the level of an engineer, but at least the concept of it. So my approach is, when I put the team together, is to define clear goals or objectives to them. We are here today. Our objective is this, and what's expected from us is this. And make sure that in that communication, everyone else in their diversity can see themselves contributing to this bigger picture, and not just say, I think this thing is for core network, or I think this thing is for transmission. No, all of us are together. All of us are here to play a part, and all of us are needed for this objective to be accomplished. So that's number one. Number two is to foster collaboration. Make sure that the team can talk amongst themselves, and not every time, because sometimes the team has tendency of, they want to talk to someone else, they need to go through the bosses and come down. No, it's either communication is better when it's lateral like this, and less of going up or up and down. So make sure they are collaborating more, sharing ideas, because they understand they're sitting in front of the equipment every day, all day long. So they understand this equipment better. So they can share ideas amongst themselves and come up with a solution that will be beneficial to the whole organization. Then I also make sure that I foster a culture of continuous learning. Continuous learning is inspiring in itself. If you're learning new things, if you're discovering new things, it sort of like brings back life in you. So I always encourage them to learn, keep up with the trends out there, whether we are attending conferences like the way I came to attend the Barhati conference. We do attend them also many conferences here, other online workshops, other invite vendors through to demonstrate their solutions, so that they continuously what's out there, and then they can think broader. And also, I think leading by example is number one. So you have to be a role model to this to your team. You have to show that you are acting with integrity, and you are also collaborating with your other members. I mean, you can't enforce collaboration on somebody and they see you not collaborating. So you have to be that leader who is leading by example. And also, I always make sure that I set the message clear to them that in this world, because technology is evolving at a fast pace, you need to stay adaptable and agile. Don't just stick to what you know. Learn new things, and that way you stay relevant as the technology is also evolving. That's how I manage my diverse team in summary.
Wow. You have covered each and every part of the real challenges, which has been faced by every leader in managing their internal team. And sometimes it become a nightmare because everyone is moving here and there. And role model with emotional intelligence and emotional connect is something which keeps them motivated and inspired as well. So thanks for bringing that message. Maybe one last question I would like to ask, that Africa is evolving. Now we can see a lot of startups and a lot of technological innovation which is happening. So it's not late to say that Africa is becoming an exporter rather than an importer only. So what is your piece of advice to young entrepreneurs or young professionals as well who are into this innovative journey?
All right. Very interesting. Only one word: impact. From my experience, I think being impactful in everything that you do really takes you to greater good. So make sure that whatever that you're working on, or whatever activity that you're doing, it delivers an impact, and that people can see that impact, and that's all it matters. And that's all it matters. And I think the next one is collaboration. You cannot achieve anything on your own, regardless how smart you are or how capable you are. You always need somebody somewhere, some corner, to complete your full picture, to complete your full piece. So make sure you collaborate with others. That way, it can easily pave ways for you to go to the next phase. Or even if you are, say, you're a startup, you're an innovation, even give you ideas that will make your innovation more impactful to the people. So I think those two words: make sure you're impactful in everything that you do, and don't do everything by yourself. Collaborate with others.
It's a great message you've shown to all the entrepreneurs. or the all the founders, co-founders, or the people who are starting their journey in the entrepreneurship level, is creating an impact and do the collaboration. So I have seen a lot of people during my discussion with a lot of founders and the co-founders. They want to do everything by alone, or if they
Yeah,
are saying that they want to do a collaboration, but intentionally they are not doing anything, they are not, their actions are not matching with their words what they are telling, and that's the
very
reason they are
true.
struggling. That's the reason they are
Yeah.
struggling.
Life becomes difficult if you're not collaborating.
Yeah.
It's easier when you collaborate.
So
They say a
leveraging.
problem shared is half solved. So that's the concept.
Correct. So leveraging each other's expertise, each other's strength areas, and go as a team, because at the end of the day, the customer want to see end-to-end picture. They don't want to see, the piecemeal approach. They want to see a whole approach, right? And that's where
Yeah,
you can create a wonders. So thank you for
true.
bringing that important message, and I'm pretty much sure this message will be will be broadcasted to the right people, and they will understand that why this collaboration and creating and vocal about their impact is very important.
Of course.
So thank you, Stone, for all this conversation. It has given me a lot of insights, clarity, and also thanks for refreshing my memories also in the olden days of showcasing and visualizing me the big AC rooms, air conditioned rooms, where the beep sound was coming. I really forgot those days, but thanks for refreshing those memories again.
You're
And
welcome. You're welcome.
importantly, your knowledge, not as a technological leader, not as a technological person, but to transform the technology into the easy digestible approach that is learned by the investors, executives, even the layman, is really
Of
really
course.
impressive.
Yes.
Hmm. And any last message which you want to share with our audience?
All I have to, I said earlier, make sure in whatever that you do in your daily basis, be impactful. It delivers an impact, and collaborate with others. It doesn't hurt to collaborate with others. Don't do things by your own. Life becomes hard in that way. Thank you again for the privilege to come here on Value Seller in Talk, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege for us also. And as you mentioned, you're the first guest from Zambia, and you made me curious to visit Zambia as well. And thank you for your time, Stone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Bye.
So, to the audience, until next time, this is Deepak Bajaj signing off. Thank you so much.